The stars above XR 475, a desolate world cloaked in perpetual twilight, glittered coldly as if they too bore witness to the unthinkable. On this forgotten junkyard planet, a machine roared to life, a chaotic monstrosity cobbled together from the galaxy's discarded relics. Sparks danced like fireflies, illuminating a landscape of rusting alien ships, shattered weaponry, and remnants of technologies long abandoned. In the heart of the chaos stood Riley Cole, his grease-streaked face lit by the glow of the weapon's pulsing core. His hands trembled as he keyed in the final activation sequence. Around him, the ground vibrated, the air shimmered, and the machine, their desperate, patchwork salvation, began to hum with a power that felt unnatural. "This isn't going to hold together," Riley muttered, his voice barely audible over the escalating cacophony of grinding metal and surging energy. "It doesn't have to hold together," came Commander Aiden Voss's voice from the observation deck. His eyes were locked on the distant target, a hulking asteroid belt that the Celestial Dominion used as a staging ground for their raids. "It just has to work." The hum became a roar. Light erupted from the weapon's core, cutting through the gloom like a blade through shadow. It wasn't just a beam of energy. It was a ripple in the fabric of reality, a gravitational anomaly that bent space and time. The asteroid belt, once a seemingly indestructible fortress, dissolved in an instant. Not just destroyed, unmade. The galaxy watches in shock. Across the galaxy, the event was broadcast to millions. Alien leaders, seated in their opulent halls and shadowy council chambers, watched in stunned silence. The Andori Collective, known for their mastery of energy manipulation, replayed the footage in disbelief. Their luminous leader, Lysara, murmured, "This is not technology. This is madness." The Voidborn clans, spectral entities feared for their psychological warfare, hissed with unease. "They wield chaos," one Voidborn general remarked, "and chaos knows no master." Even the Celestial Dominion, rulers of the stars and self-proclaimed gods, faltered. Their golden-armored arbiter stared at the devastation, his voice trembling with fury and something else. Fear. This affront to the divine will not stand. Humanity's defiance. For humanity, the event marked a turning point. Once relegated to the fringes of the galaxy, dismissed as scavengers and survivors, they had sent an undeniable message to the ruling powers. "We are not prey." Commander Voss's voice echoed across the interstellar broadcast. "You called us weak. You took our homes, our people, and our resources. But from your scraps, we built a weapon that can topple empires. We are done running. From this moment forward, humanity fights back." The declaration reverberated across the stars. To some, it was a rallying cry. To others, it was a harbinger of doom. The scrap revolution. As the weapon powered down, Riley slumped against the console, sweat dripping from his brow. "That wasn't supposed to happen," he muttered. "The rift, it's unstable." "It did what it needed to," Voss replied, though his gaze lingered on the flickering distortion in the sky where the asteroid belt had been. The scars left behind by the weapon were visible even from XR 475, a reminder of the raw, unpredictable power they had unleashed. This was no longer just a fight for survival. The gods of the galaxy had ruled unchecked for millennia, their power absolute. But humanity, armed with a weapon forged from their cast-offs, had changed the rules of the game. From the depths of the scrap heaps, humanity had risen, not as conquerors, but as revolutionaries. The age of gods was over, and the galaxy's new reality had been forged in the fires of desperation and ingenuity. The galaxy had always been ruled by the gods, or so they called themselves. The Celestial Dominion, the Andori Collective, and the Voidborn clans had carved up the stars long before humanity had even taken its first steps into space. Their power was absolute, their technologies unmatched, and their dominance unquestioned. To the rest of the galaxy, they were divine. To humanity, they were oppressors. Humanity's place in this grand cosmic order was that of scavengers, overlooked and underestimated. Earth's natural resources were stripped centuries ago, and its people scattered across the stars, eking out a living in the shadows of greater civilizations. The gods rarely paid attention to them until they needed something. When the celestial dominion's fleet swept through human colonies, demanding tribute, resistance was futile. When the Voidborn used human settlements as testing grounds for their latest weapons, no one came to help. And when the Andori collective stripped vital resources from planets humans called home, there was no one to turn to. For humanity, it wasn't just survival, it was humiliation. Every colony raided, every resource stolen, every life lost to apathy etched resentment deep into the soul of the species. Yet, humanity had one advantage. They had always been survivors, adapting to whatever the galaxy threw their way. The rise of XR-475. On the edges of known space, far from the watchful eyes of the gods, lay XR-475, a barren planet transformed into a galactic junkyard. It was here that the discarded relics of interstellar empires were left to rust, alien engines, failed prototypes, and the remnants of ancient battles. To the gods, XR-475 was a wasteland. To humanity, it was a treasure trove. Scavengers, engineers, and dreamers flocked to the planet, piecing together tools, ships, and technologies from the scraps. Over decades, XR-475 became a hub of innovation, where ingenuity flourished amidst desperation. Here, humanity learned to reverse engineer void-born energy fields, repurpose Andori plasma conduits, and integrate Dominion targeting systems into their patchwork creations. It was on XR-475 that the idea of the weapon was born, not as a tool of conquest, but as a means of survival. Commander Aidan Voss, a former military officer, and Riley Cole, a brilliant but eccentric engineer, spearheaded the effort. If they won't give us the means to protect ourselves, Voss declared, we'll build it ourselves, from their trash. The stakes. The project wasn't just ambitious, it was reckless. The weapon, a fusion of scavenged alien technologies, was as unstable as it was powerful. Riley had warned repeatedly that a single miscalculation could destroy them all. But the alternative was worse: continued oppression, raids, and the slow extinction of humanity. The stakes couldn't have been higher. If the weapon succeeded, it could change the galaxy forever, giving humanity a chance to rise as equals. If it failed, it would confirm everything the gods believed about humanity, that they were weak, foolish, and destined to remain at the bottom. The conflict. As whispers of the project spread, the gods began to take notice. The Voidborn clans dispatched scouts to investigate XR-475, their ethereal ships casting ominous shadows over the junkyard planet. The Andori collective dismissed the rumors as absurd, until their spies returned with fragmented data showing energy readings unlike anything they had ever seen. And the Celestial Dominion, ever prideful, saw the project as an affront to their divine order. The gods didn't act immediately. They were curious, amused even, that humanity thought they could challenge the status quo. But their patience had limits. When they fail, declared a Dominion arbiter, we will make an example of them. Humanity wasn't just building a weapon. They were building a declaration of defiance. From the trash heaps of XR-475, they had pieced together a machine that could shake the heavens. The gods didn't realize it yet, but their time was running out. It began with whispers, rumors of a human creation on XR-475 that could challenge the gods themselves. At first, the galactic powers dismissed the idea as laughable. What could a species of scavengers possibly create from discarded technology? But when the Voidborn clans lost a patrol fleet near the junkyard planet, curiosity turned to concern. The Voidborn were the first to act. Their spectral ships arrived in the skies above XR-475, their presence casting a chilling shadow over the junkyard world. Commander Aidan Voss, monitoring their arrival from the planet's hastily assembled control center, knew what was coming. The Voidborn didn't issue ultimatums, they made examples. Their emissary's voice, an eerie chorus that echoed across every human comm channel, declared, Surrender your abomination, or be obliterated. The test of fire. The weapon wasn't ready. Riley Cole had spent weeks working through its endless instability issues, warning Voss repeatedly that a premature activation could backfire catastrophically. "We're dealing with alien tech we barely understand," Riley argued. "This thing is more chaos than science." But the Voidborn didn't give them a choice. When their fleet opened fire, Voss gave the order. "Power it up." The weapon's activation was anything but elegant. Sparks flew as its patchwork conduits overloaded, and the ground beneath it trembled with a low, resonant hum. Then, in a burst of unstable energy, the machine roared to life. A beam of gravitational energy arced through the sky, warping light as it shot toward the Voidborn fleet. The lead ship didn't just explode. It disintegrated, leaving nothing behind but a faint ripple in the void. The remaining ships fled, their ethereal forms flickering as they retreated. Internal fractures. The victory, if it could be called that, came at a cost. The weapon's gravitational pulse left a visible rift in XI-475's atmosphere, a shimmering scar that refused to fade. Riley stared at the distortion in horror. "This thing doesn't just destroy," he murmured. "It's tearing reality apart." The conflict wasn't just external. It was within humanity itself. While Voss celebrated their survival, others questioned the cost. Was humanity risking the very fabric of existence to prove a point? Some of the engineers working on the weapon refused to continue, citing moral and existential concerns. "We're not just fighting the gods," one of them said. "We're becoming them." Voss dismissed their fears. "The gods have been tearing us apart for centuries," he argued. "Now it's their turn to feel powerless." The Andori's discovery. The Andori Collective, ever curious, dispatched a team of observers to study the weapon from a distance. What they saw terrified them. The energy readings from the weapon didn't match any known technology. It was unpredictable, chaotic, and far beyond what a scavenger species should have been capable of. The Andori returned to their council with a dire warning. "This isn't just a weapon. It's a disruption to the natural order. If it remains unchecked, it could unravel everything." The Dominion's retaliation. For the Celestial Dominion, the weapon was more than an insult, it was blasphemy. The self-proclaimed gods couldn't tolerate such defiance. Their response was swift and brutal. A fleet of golden warships descended on a nearby human colony, reducing it to ash in a matter of hours. Their message was clear. Humanity's rebellion would not be tolerated. Voss, enraged by the attack, made a bold decision. He ordered the weapon to be moved off XR-475, using scavenged Dominion cloaking devices to hide it within an asteroid field. From there, humanity struck back, targeting a Dominion supply line. The weapon's gravitational pulse didn't just destroy the convoy, it severed hyperspace lanes, disrupting Dominion operations across the sector. The galaxy takes notice. Each conflict escalated the stakes. Humanity had proven their weapons' power, but in doing so, they had drawn the full attention of the galaxy's powers. The Voidborn began deploying fleets armed with energy-dampening fields. The Andori proposed a galactic coalition to contain humanity, and the Dominion vowed to annihilate them entirely. For humanity, survival was no longer the goal, it was revolution. Each battle wasn't just a fight for their lives. It was a declaration that the old order was crumbling. But as the weapon continued to grow more unstable with each use, Riley couldn't shake a growing fear. What if the real threat wasn't the gods, but the monster they had created? The Voidborn blockade. The situation. The Voidborn clans, determined to prevent humanity from deploying their weapon again, established a blockade around XR-475. Their spectral fleet loomed over the junkyard world, cutting off supplies and escape routes. The Voidborn demanded humanity surrender the weapon or face annihilation. Human entry. Commander Aiden Voss refused to yield. Instead, he ordered Riley Cole to modify the weapon for a direct assault. Riley, hesitant but desperate, integrated scavenged Voidborn technology into the weapon's power core, allowing it to bypass Voidborn energy shields. The result: When the Voidborn opened fire, the weapon retaliated with a gravitational pulse. The pulse didn't just destroy the lead ship, it created a cascading energy disruption that rendered the Voidborn fleet's cloaking devices useless. Exposed and vulnerable, the fleet retreated, but not before losing a quarter of their ships. Reactions. The Voidborn, humiliated, declared humanity an affront to the balance of existence. Across the galaxy, smaller species cheered humanity's victory, seeing it as a glimmer of hope against the oppressive powers. The Celestial Dominion, however, began to see humanity as a legitimate threat. Event 2. The Andori Probe Incident. The situation. The Andori Collective, intrigued and alarmed by the weapon's energy readings, dispatched a covert probe to XR-475. The probe was designed to infiltrate and map the weapon's energy signature, allowing the Andori to develop countermeasures. Human entry. The probe's presence didn't go unnoticed. Riley, spotting it during routine diagnostics, managed to hack its systems using scavenged Andori communication modules. Instead of sending back critical data, the probe returned to the Andori with fabricated readings, suggesting the weapon was unstable and about to self-destruct. The result. Believing the ruse, the Andori withdrew their ships from the region, fearing a catastrophic explosion. This bought humanity critical time to reinforce XR-475 and refine the weapon. When the Andori discovered the deception weeks later, they were both furious and impressed. Reactions. The Andori labeled humanity an unpredictable variable and began pushing for a galactic coalition to contain them. Meanwhile, human colonies celebrated the clever gambit, solidifying Riley's reputation as a genius of improvisation. Event 3. The Dominion's Counteroffensive. The situation. Enraged by humanity's defiance, the Celestial Dominion launched a direct attack on a human mining colony near XR-475. Their goal was to cripple humanity's resource network and draw the weapon into an open confrontation. Human entry. Rather than meet the Dominion head-on, Voss devised a plan to lure their fleet into a nearby asteroid belt. Riley reconfigured the weapon to create localized gravitational anomalies, effectively turning the asteroid field into a minefield. The result. As the Dominion fleet pursued humanity into the belt, the weapon activated. Gravitational distortions flung asteroids at high velocity, smashing into the Dominion ships. The flagship, a symbol of the Dominion's might, was critically damaged and forced to retreat. Humanity suffered minimal losses. Reactions. The Dominion's High Arbiter declared humanity a galactic blight and vowed total annihilation. Yet, whispers of dissent grew within the Dominion's ranks. Some officers began questioning whether humanity's ingenuity could be turned into an asset rather than a threat. Event 4. The Galactic Rift. The situation. Desperate to curb humanity's rise, the Voidborn and Andori joined forces for a surprise attack on XR-475. Their fleets descended on the junkyard planet, armed with energy-dampening fields designed to neutralize the weapon. Human entry. Humanity's weapon, now hidden in a cloaked asteroid base, activated a fail-safe system Riley had developed. When the enemy fleets activated their dampening fields, the weapon responded with a massive gravitational shockwave. The result. The shockwave disabled both fleets, but at a cost. It tore a rift in space-time near XR-475, creating a permanent anomaly that disrupted hyperspace travel in the region. The Voidborn and Andori fleets were forced to retreat, but the rift became a grim reminder of the weapon's unpredictable power. Reactions. The galaxy watched in awe and terror. The rift became known as the Scar of XR-475, a symbol of humanity's ability to wield chaos itself. For humanity, it was a bittersweet victory. Riley, haunted by the weapon's destructive potential, warned Voss, "We're not just fighting them anymore. We're fighting the universe itself." The escalation's legacy. Each event escalated the stakes, proving humanity's resilience and ingenuity, but also highlighting the risks of their weapon. For every victory, a new scar was left on the galaxy, fractures in alliances, space-time, and even humanity's own sense of purpose. As Voss reflected on their journey, he declared, "We didn't choose this fight. But if the gods think they can crush us, they're about to learn the cost of underestimating humanity." The galactic response to humanity's rise. As humanity's scrap weapon disrupted the balance of galactic power, the ruling faction scrambled to develop strategies to counter this unexpected force. Yet, every attempt to contain or outmaneuver humanity seemed to backfire, exposing the limitations of rigid systems against human adaptability. 1. The Voidborn Psychological Gambit. The strategy. The Voidborn, masters of fear and manipulation, attempted to exploit humanity's supposed emotional fragility. Using their spectral emissaries, they broadcast cryptic warnings and visions of annihilation to human colonies. Their goal was to sow fear, paranoia, and dissent within humanity's ranks. What happened? Humans didn't break. They laughed. One colony turned the Voidborn's warnings into a viral meme, with captions like, "Apocalypse? Been there. Survived that." Another colony staged a festival called Spectre Day, complete with holographic parodies of Voidborn emissaries. Meanwhile, Commander Aidan Voss used the broadcast to rally support, framing the Voidborn threats as proof of humanity's growing power. "If they fear us," Voss declared, "we must be doing something right." Outcome: the Voidborn retreated in frustration. "They don't fear chaos," one Voidborn general observed. "They thrive in it." 2. The Andori's Intellectual Trap. The strategy. The Andori Collective, known for their intellect and logic, attempted to overwhelm humanity with diplomacy. They proposed a series of treaties, filled with convoluted clauses designed to undermine humanity's sovereignty. Their hope was to entangle humanity in a web of legal traps. What happened? Human diplomats responded with irreverent charm. Instead of engaging in the Andori's labyrinthine negotiations, they submitted counterproposals written in simple language, often laced with humor. One treaty clause read, "All parties agree not to blow up any planets unless it's really, really necessary." The Andori, accustomed to rigid formality, struggled to adapt. Their scholars spent weeks debating whether the humans' proposals were acts of incompetence or genius. Meanwhile, humanity gained favorable trade terms while sidestepping the Andori's traps entirely. Outcome: the Andori withdrew, labeling humanity unpredictable and ungovernable. Privately, they admitted, "Their simplicity is a weapon we cannot counter." 3. The Dominion's Military Blitz. The strategy. The Celestial Dominion, confident in their military might, launched a series of rapid strikes on human colonies, aiming to cripple their infrastructure and force them into submission. They deployed overwhelming fleets and advanced technology, intending to crush resistance swiftly. What happened? Humanity's response was anything but conventional. Scavengers modified Dominion tech to counter their attacks, turning Dominion drones into weapons of their own. In one infamous incident, a Dominion fleet found its own ships hacked, their targeting systems reprogrammed to display holographic images of dancing humans. Humanity's scrap weapon played a decisive role, creating gravitational anomalies that stranded Dominion fleets in hyperspace or smashed their ships into asteroid fields. Each strike only solidified humanity's reputation for turning the tables. Outcome: the Dominion withdrew, vowing revenge. Internally, cracks began to show, as some Dominion officers questioned whether they could truly defeat such a resourceful foe. 4. The Hive's Mimicry Experiment. The strategy. The Hive Consciousness, a telepathic collective, decided to mimic humanity's individualistic ingenuity. They fragmented into smaller, semi-autonomous units, hoping to replicate humanity's creative adaptability. What happened? The experiment failed spectacularly. The fragmented Hive units became disorganized, with some even defecting to humanity's side. One rogue unit declared itself the independent Hive Republic and began trading scavenged Hive tech with human colonies. The main Hive struggled to reabsorb the rogue units, ultimately abandoning the experiment. Outcome: the Hive returned to their unified state, declaring humanity an anomaly that defies replication. One hive overseer concluded, individuality is chaos. Chaos cannot be controlled. 5. The Galactic Council's economic embargo. The strategy. Desperate to isolate humanity, the Galactic Council imposed a galaxy-wide embargo, cutting off trade and resources to human colonies. The embargo was meant to starve humanity's war machine into submission,